got a little sidetracked over the weekend and I apologize, but we're right back at it. So if this is a lesson to you around Christmas time, around any time, if you ever challenge yourself, you fall off the horse, just get back on and keep on moving, right? Like, don't let this momentum stop us. I know we've got a lot of things going on. The holidays are right around the corner. Merry Christmas to all of you. I hope that some of you have gotten enough done on your Christmas list of things to do, because I know mine keeps growing, but I want to make sure that I am just keeping back to my goals and still doing what I'm doing. So for those of you that don't know me, I'm Cece Crossley. I am the founder of Bookkeeper Bootcamp, and I'm here to teach you guys tips, tricks, and whatever I can to help you guys become successful freelance bookkeepers, virtual bookkeepers. And for those of you that are out there that are new to the system of virtual bookkeeping and you're interested, this channel is for you, and that's what I'm working on. So today, what we're working on, talking about, our topic, is the services that you need to offer right now. Meaning this is December 2020, and we are at a prime time for people looking to get new clients. This is the time we need to capitalize. So if you're watching this now and it's December 2020 or towards the end of the year and the beginning of the following year, this is the time we need to capitalize. And having services that you offer for particular things, that's what we want to do. That's what we need to start getting ahead of the game for. So right now, we're going to talk about one of the most important ones. And literally, if you're looking at me and wondering why I have a jacket on, it's because it's freezing in my office. And the rest of my house likes it cold. But I don't know. I just put on jackets in the house to stay warm so everyone else is happy. Anyway, back to the topic. Just wondering if, I have an outside jacket on. That's why I have an outside jacket on. We're going to talk about the service of cleanup. Bookkeeping cleanup can be very detailed, and there's many different steps and levels to doing the bookkeeping cleanup. So what I want to talk about are the different things that I offer, especially right now towards the end of the year, that you guys can capitalize on and help push you to either make new clients or do kind of a package upgrade, something you guys can add on to your services now. If you're doing just monthly maintenance, this is something that you guys want to do. So the bookkeeping cleanup is part one of my many parts of the services that we need to offer to our clients now and to potential clients. The first part is learning how to read a balance sheet and income statement, aka the profit and loss statement. So those are the two main things that we need to know as bookkeepers how to read. It can be a little bit difficult if you've never read a balance sheet before. For those of you joining me now, hi, and let me know where you guys are watching from. I'm here in freezing cold Arizona where it's probably only 40 degrees, but in my house it's freezing. Anyway, I want to talk about the balance sheet first, okay? Reading the balance sheet. Hey from LA. Hope it's nice and warm and cozy there. It's not here. So anyway, reading the balance sheet. The balance sheet is going to have your bank balances. So if you're utilizing, say, hey Jersey, what's up? East Coast in the house. I bet it's snowing there now, right? Freezing. You guys are nuts. I don't do snow. You guys want to make sure that you guys know how to look at least in QuickBooks. Now I'm talking about QuickBooks. The first part are going to be your bank accounts. So whether you guys have checking, a savings account, by you guys, I mean your clients, credit cards will be a part of that, petty cash, so bank accounts, holding accounts like GL accounts, those are going to be the top part. And then I believe it's going to be your, I can't think right now. Your assets and your liabilities will also be a part of that. I think it's your liabilities that are right there after it. Yeah. Oh, terrible. It's been a long day. But your assets, your liabilities, your bank statements, and your equity are all going to be located on top of your bank statement. Yes. And what you want to do with those, at least specifically for cleanup, you want to make sure, your balance sheet and your bank statements are matching in the ending balance. That's the most important part, because when you're dealing with the CPA and they're looking at your paperwork, meaning your reports, these are the numbers that they need to create that tax return for your client. So if you're working with a CPA, the first thing they're going to look at is the bank statements at the end of the month versus the balance sheet bank statement at the end of the month. So they have to match. So January balance sheet has to match January bank statement ending balances. And that is going to be something that, I mean, if it's already off, and you can pull it up if you're getting new clients, if it's already off, you already know that you've got guaranteed work. You can for sure say, okay, I can tell you right now, just by looking at your bank statement, say present day bank statement, or you can go 2 months back, whatever you do, you can ask your client to bring those documents for you. Or if you're a QuickBooks user like I am, you guys can ask for access, if they're okay with it, temporary access for them to show you what their balance sheet looks like. Because that right there can tell you right away their actual bank statement versus their balance sheet statement. That's guaranteed work. You're gonna be busy. That's guaranteed cleanup. Because what that tells you is that their reconciliations are off. So you're gonna be doing a lot of reconciliations. So that is part of the cleanup. Then you're gonna want to, the second part is categorize. I call them all the uns. What I mean by all the uns is you're gonna see most of the time, if there's gonna be cleanup work, you're gonna see uncategorized, undeposited, and unapplied. These are gonna be like uncategorized assets, or uncategorized anything. Undeposited funds, undeposited funds are gonna be a main one. And then unapplied payments, things like that. Anything with the CPAs don't want to see that. Things need to be categorized accordingly. So if you guys see the uns on the balance sheet, guaranteed cleanup work needs to be done. Now, how much cleanup work? I'm not sure. No one's going to be completely sure, but I can tell you right now that when you see the uns, you're guaranteed to have at least, I mean, you're looking at least possibly at minimum a week's worth of work. So you guys can address that accordingly. And it depends on how many transactions are in those uns. If you're looking at the whole year, because it's December, you're looking at a lot of work there. So if you're looking at a lot of work, why not? Let's do it. That's what you guys can capitalize on. All right. The next topic that I've got on my handy dandy paperwork, because I always do, I'm talking about just the reviewing all the categories. See, I jump ahead of myself. I already know what I'm talking about. So I'm already there. Those are the numbers that your CPA wants, and they want you to validate those. So CPAs are not happy when they see all those uns. No go, not good. Let's see. It's also good because you're talking about the cash flow and the revenue there. So let me just jump backwards a little bit and let's talk about the income statement, aka the profit and loss statement. It's the same thing. They're just used in different terminologies sometimes, depending on your client and their softwares. So the income statement is going to have the revenue that comes in, and of that revenue, it's going to show all the expenses that your client has. And the reason why this is important is because these are where all the deductions come from for your client's tax returns. So what you want to do is you want to make sure you're reviewing every single column. Even if it's just a quick couple minute review, do it. And I mean, same goes for the balance sheet. Here's the thing, if you didn't look at those numbers and you're doing a full cleanup and your client or the CPA goes, hey, how come this number's so high? And you go, ooh, I don't know because I really didn't look at it. I was only taking care of a few of those. No, that is our duty as the bookkeepers that are doing the cleanup. We need to look at all of the numbers. We need to make sure everything on the balance sheet that's recorded is accurate. You don't have to go one by one, but you can. I just briefly skim over. I mean, for instance, if I'm looking at the P&Ls, right? P&Ls is the expenses. If I see that in office supplies, we're looking at $50,000 in office supplies, that's a red flag. I'm going to click on that $50,000 in office supplies, because I'm thinking, why do we have $50,000 in office supplies? Maybe, hey Phoenix, what's up? In the house, right? AZ. Anyway, $50,000 in office supplies might actually be considered an asset. So I'm going to take a look at that, because that's something that the CPA might ask me as well. So I'm looking at every single one, and if I'm doing a cleanup, you can guarantee that I'm opening every single category on the balance sheet and on the P&L sheet to make sure that I've got my eyes on that. So if someone ever came back to ask me, whether it be the CPA or the client, I can confidently tell them that I looked at that. So that would be my recommendation for the beginning services of cleanup that you guys can start offering right this minute. Like right as we hang up on this live, I want you guys to see if you guys can use this. If you can, come back and leave me a comment. If you have questions about how to utilize the balance sheet and the profit and loss sheet more accurately, leave me a comment now. If we're here on the live, I definitely want to answer all questions that you guys have in the allotted time that I have you for. I try not to keep my lives more than 30 minutes because that's a long video and it's just me gabbing. So anyway, as I say that, the second part of the cleanup services that I'm talking about today is the bank and credit card reconciliations. This again, if you go back to what I had just previously spoke about, the balance sheet and the bank reconciliations and the credit card reconciliations, those go hand in hand. Why? Because that is the double check. That is, the word's escaping me. That is the way we make sure that all of the transactions in our QuickBooks software tallies up to the bank statement, meaning when the cash comes in and out, and as we're recording it, we want to make sure we, one, don't have duplicates, because that could be a big problem. We're recording it twice, double transactions, that's a big problem. Our numbers and our reports will be off. So that's what'll catch that. Anybody who's got, outstanding checks that are out there, that's what the reconciliation is supposed to do. It's supposed to catch everything that's lingering and everything that needed to be accounted for in our reconciliations from the bank. So the bank feed is now located on our QuickBooks. Before it wasn't, many years ago, and we had to make sure that those transactions were in there manually. Well, with QuickBooks, you guys can take a look at their reconciliation reports. So if you're looking at the reconciliation reports, then you can make sure that you are looking at the unreconciled transactions on the report will be towards the bottom. So if you see anything that's really old, say from July, August, you can start to question those. Ask your client, or do your research. Make sure that, those are either valid charges that we're waiting for, or maybe they might be duplicated. If they are, let's get rid of them. Let's clean that up. So the reconciliation summary reports, those monthly reports, that's something that you guys can really start to look at now. And I can tell you what, right there, if you start to see anything that's over 60 days from right now, if you were to look at your client's books, you guys can use it. That's cleanup. That's money in your pocket right now. All right. So that's the topic for right now, today. Look at that. Made it fast, clean. I didn't ramble too much. Yes. I'm going to see if I've got any questions here. Give me 1 second. I think I've got one from Brian. All right, Brian. Brian says, what if a client uses one credit card for 2 different businesses? How do I figure out the actual ending balance that I need to reconcile? Well, Brian, I hope that's not the case, because if it really is the case, here's what I would recommend. I would recommend so the reason why this makes it hard is because if you have one credit card for two different businesses, you're going to need two different softwares to begin with, right? Well, not softwares, two different companies within QuickBooks. So if you're using QuickBooks, I don't know if you are or not. Let me know in the comments if you are, if you're still watching. What I would recommend in this case is I would kind of have to do this on an Excel sheet, or I would. This does make it a little difficult. Or what I would do is, if you're using QuickBooks, so there's two different ways you can do it. If you're using QuickBooks, make sure that you're using two different, let's see. Oh, it's been a pain for 3 years. I would try to get your client to stop doing that. But if you can't, and I get it, I totally get it. It's such a pain in the butt. I would just make sure that, you know, you're doing the two different companies. You've got it, you know, company number 1 here and then company number 2 in a different file, so a whole different profile, because that's the only way that you can absolutely make sure that those numbers are not being included on the other business. So meaning you've got, say, business number 1 and then business number 2. Okay, so you did say different accounts and you're a QuickBooks advisor. Okay, so I mean, I would just recommend doing it like that. When I present the work to my CPA, I would explain that, and I would manually just tally out the and total up the bank statements. So I guess I'm doing 2 bank statements, the same credit card statement, not bank statement, 2 of the same credit card statements, and then I would probably just like highlight or circle the ones, manually tally them up to make sure that I showed a beginning and ending balance, because at least that's the only way I can prove that that was the full statement. What I would almost recommend is, yeah, I mean, if they're using it that way, that would be the best way. If you were to export that into an Excel, it'd be a little more harder anyway, but that'll probably be the less painful way. I don't know if that's the way you're doing it now, but if it is, let me know. I'm curious to know how you're doing it actually, because that is such a pain in the butt. And guys, this is why it's a pain in the butt. If you're not familiar and you're watching this now and you're like, why are they like, it's such a pain? It's because, and it's kind of the same reason why people shouldn't use their business accounts for personal uses. It's because it's not good business practice, because we need to capture. It makes it harder on the bookkeeper, and it makes it harder to produce accurate reports. If your client is still using their personal, actually taking money out of their bank to pay personal things, rent, car payments, what have you, bills, telephone, things like that, it really doesn't look fantastic on the P&Ls and the bank the balance sheet, because they make payments with different things. Oh, Brian, I'm going to drink some wine for you tonight, buddy. That's not fun. But again, going back to that, the reason why it's such a pain in the ass is because, and pardon my French, it's because as an owner, they should be getting paid. Okay, whether they are an S corp or sole proprietor, things like that, we need to make sure that your clients have their own wages. And by doing that, we're showing how much your client makes, not how much the business makes. Now, if you stay tuned, that's going to be part 3 of my services you need to offer now. So not tomorrow, because tomorrow's a whole new topic, but the following day, I'm going to go over that exact reason why you guys need to start offering this service now. And I want you guys to fully understand it, about how clients need to pay themselves and why it's so important for you to know as a bookkeeper and for them to know why. So it's a whole nother topic, and I can just go on and on and on. But like I said, I don't like to keep you guys too long. And today's is more about cleanup. If you guys have questions now, if you're just watching me now, if you have questions about cleanup, anything that you're doing, Brian was just telling me how each business has about 6,000 transactions a year. Okay, so I mean, it's not too high. It's a pretty good. That's a pretty good amount. So, I mean, it's kind of I would say it's not too bad. It's not too bad. I feel like that's manageable per business. Still a pain in the butt. I would definitely, I wish you could do it differently. But if you could tell me how they're doing it, that would be wonderful. So let's do a little quick recap on what we should do, because I don't want to keep you guys too long. I'm watching my clock here. Okay, so how to read a balance sheet in the income statement, because you need to look at the balance sheet and the income statement. Income statement is the profit and loss statement, because if you're seeing things like inconsistencies on the balance sheet, on the bank statement ending balance and the balance sheet ending balance, if those don't match at the end of the month. So if you pull, for instance, if you pull November, the balance sheet as of the end of November, that ending balance in the bank part section should match the November bank statement or credit card statement. Those ending balances should match. If they are not matching at any point in the year of 2020, that's cleanup work. You guys can capitalize on that right now and use that to your advantage, especially if you're getting new clients, because new clients, we need to capitalize it now. Get them in the door. Look at these balance sheets. Categorizing the uns on the balance sheet. So if you're looking at a balance sheet and you see undeposited or unapplied anything, that's cleanup work. All right. And you guys can charge anywhere from $700, $800 at minimum 7 to 8. Okay, guys, 7 to 8 for cleanup, depending on transactions. And I say minimum because it's always depending on how many transactions and how bad the cleanup is. My minimum is probably a lot higher, but that's because I have a lot more experience. And for those of you that have experience like I do, I have about 15 years of experience in doing this. You guys should be charging a higher rate because you have the knowledge. If you're just starting off, that's okay. You guys can still start at a pretty good rate, around 700, 800, but you guys need to know what you're doing. So if you have questions about cleanup like that, hit me up at hello@bookkeeperbootcamp.com or questions@bookkeeperbootcamp.com, and I will do my best to answer them. Bookkeeping cleanup can get really tricky, and that's one thing that I have been trying to get better at with my coaching. It can get tricky because each is a little different for each client. Anyway, income statement, same thing. Anything that is uncategorized, open every single category on the balance sheet and on the income statement. Get your guys' eyes on both so that you guys can determine each groups of transactions, or each line transaction on each report is accurate. That's our job. Our job is to make sure that these transactions are valid for the CPA and ready. Because if you guys make it easier for the CPA wants to work with good, knowledgeable bookkeepers. And that's how you get referrals. That's also part of the 15-day challenge that I'm setting. So keep an eye out. I try to do live so I can answer questions. I find that that's a lot easier for me, but somewhere down the road, I will do some videos so you guys can have some actual visuals. I might just get old school and just like use my, I can grab it, it's stuck, my little notepad. Because it's just easier to teach in that mode for me. Anyway, the next and last one was the bank and credit card reconciliations. If those reconciliations aren't completed and they're backdated and they haven't done them, guess what? That's cleanup work right now for you. Clean up. That's money in your pocket. And I do recommend that you guys are not charging by the hour. Charge as a package. It's better. It's faster. You guys can get more clients that way. And you're not limited to, if your knowledge is vast and you can do the cleanup like that, then it takes you, say, 2 weeks to do the cleanup, 1 week. Don't limit yourself on the hours. You guys are just ripping yourselves off. It needs to be in packages. Anyway, that's the end of my live tonight. Join me again tomorrow about the same time. I'm gonna try to shoot for 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. every day. So if you're tuning in live now, and you know my next live, I'll make sure to try and get you guys out there about 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I feel like is the best time for everyone. I still have some time for questions, guys. If not, if you don't have any questions, just drop me a line. Tell me you guys watching from. I love to know. But tomorrow's video is going to be about sales tax and the South Dakota versus Wayfair mandate, and why this is important for you guys to capitalize on and make this a service for you now to offer. And this one is a big one, okay? I really want to talk about this because this has been my moneymaker. So tune in tomorrow. That's going to be December 23rd. So it's going to be early Christmas present for you guys, because this is a big one. If it's too long to talk about in my live, I might break it up into 2 pieces. But I think I should cover it. I just need to make sure that I don't ramble too much for you guys. But this one's a really good topic, okay? Thanks, Brian. Email me. I can't wait to talk about this. Maybe we can meet up in Phoenix. Who knows? And for those of you that are in Phoenix, drop me a line at hello@bookkeeperbootcamp.com. Let me know if we can somehow do a meetup one of these days. You know, when COVID's not so crazy. We could do like a big, we can't do a big group. Gosh, COVID sucks. Anyway. I hope you guys are having a great evening. Shoot me a line if you have any more questions about the part 1 to this services you need to offer now, which is cleanup. Norma, you're welcome. I'll talk to you guys all soon. Have a great rest of your evening, and I hope this part 1 is really helpful for you guys and that you guys can use it right now. Bye.